Hello, everyone. It is January 17th, 2019. This is part three of the series that I'm doing. So you're going to have to watch one and two before three will make any sense at all. I didn't think I was going to have to do three, but this is not going to take long at all. Nonetheless, I started out, or I left off where you're seeing right now. I started off discussing my people Israel and where they have landed. This has gone kind of round robin, but I left off at the very last moments of my last video with this. We had the unveiling of Trump's much anticipated Israeli-Palestinian peace plan delayed by months. It has everything to do with John Bolton touring tunnels beneath the Western Wall. As I had said, I had already been, I was in Israel at the time that I noticed the construction going on and wondered what it was all about. I actually had walked to several points and saw guards basically guarding areas that you clearly were not supposed to go past. And this is clearly what was going on. There was a lot more going on that I did not know about until I got back. So that's where we're going to head on here. Now you can see this picture is showing pretty rough-hewn stones. This is the place where John Bolton went in, and strange that they knew that this stuff was behind the wall, the Western Wall, and who's to know how deep this stuff goes in. We also know that the Dome of the Rock of Islam is back in this area as well. This is all, just being dug. No one's talking about much of what is specifically there. Interestingly enough, though, we have one of the major American players that goes and takes a tour of this. And obviously it angered the powers that be on the other side. The Palestinians didn't look at this with favor. So we're going to head on from here. And again, this is regarding the United States government. I brought this up in the last moments that this is the association that founded our country. And this is where we're going with this, is why was our country founded at all? And we obviously came from the British Empire. And I just brought that up and where the symbols led across Europe to the British Empire. And now here we are in the United States. So I made it clear in all my other prior videos that the government of the United States is satanic as well. It is very aware of what is going on beneath the Islamic Dome of the Rock. Yahweh knows as well. There's more going on behind the Wailing Wall than meets the eye. Hidden third temple for 70 elders dedicated on Hanukkah. Now, I watched this video and my jaw hit the ground because being there, wondering what was all going on. I knew had been some tunnels that had been excavated, but seeing what this guy was showing, and he toured this site, he knew what it was. He knew it was apostate because of what he saw in there. And the symbols that I saw, I understand a lot of what, because I know a lot about what a cult is. I knew what I was looking at too. So we're going to take a quick tour. You can see there's some things that are very modern here. They've got the suspended timber poles with lights in them. So, this is supposed to, I guess, look kind of a stone chic, but nonetheless, you've got seats here. You've got this in the background. That we're going to go into. This is a Trinity sphere. And he shows the layout of this. This has been built in secret. And he was the one that took the pictures. I believe he took all these pictures. So he's showing them on his computer screen. And he says this is pretty much set up and ready to go. So I knew what I was looking at when I saw that sphere. And that's what this is about. So we've got the Isis Horus Set, IHS, which is also present in the Catholic Church. I go into all of this stuff in other videos with symbolism that's in that church. It's absolutely overwhelming. And again, there we go. This is also, you're going to see spheres on Catholic paintings. And in fact, my card that I have with my intro video shows a sphere being held, and it's an adaptation of this Trinity sphere. Where in the Torah was a sphere ever mentioned to be contained in the first temple? Yahweh and Yeshua have sent a sign. So we've got deities right here, and we've got obviously the symbols right there. Egyptian. We know what that is. Always back to Egypt. So what do we get from God? Yahweh sends us a sign. People all over the world are creeped out. So it's written up. Snake seen crawling between the stones of Israel's western wall. Snake emerges from western wall cracks, halting prayers. People, I mean, this is being written up everywhere. So, breaking Israeli news. This is a sign. And then we've got the third temple altar dedication. I watched this video. Being that I'm Christian, I looked at this from a different standpoint, I guess. Knowing that this is not from a Christian standpoint, this is a false temple. This temple was no longer required because Yeshua, his blood on the temple was the last sacrifice required. So no temple was needed, no place. At this point, the temple is now within each of us with the Holy Spirit. So nonetheless, they're doing this. This was interesting to watch because this is where you've got I guess you would say, function before form. I saw this a lot when I was in Israel anyway, where I saw the Jewish people are so into law that they are in motion doing things that they believe are right. But then when you look at the execution of things, I was somewhat amazed. I'm not going to go into too much detail about that in this particular video, but let's just say that they built this to temple standards, this ramp that comes up to where the fire is lit up here on the right-hand side. This starts out with them bringing out a carcass, and I'm going to call it a carcass because it is a dead lamb that they killed somewhere else because apparently their version of the animal rights would not allow them to slaughter it in the open right here. So this starts out on the stage over here a little bit further to the right, and the guy drags this Tupperware tub that looks like something you would like put your odds and ends that you would put into a closet, and he drags it and pulls it up here. So they drag the dead lamb out in a Tupperware container that one puts their odds and ends into storage in their closet. This was just gross. That's all I can say. Watching this, Yahweh himself lit the fire for the first temple thousands of years ago. It was never allowed to go out. Yahweh did not light this one, and they couldn't keep it lit. They had to light that thing multiple times. And can you imagine, okay, you got this, you bring it out in this, it wasn't put on a piece of a silver platter. I don't have a clue. If it wasn't written specifically in the Old Testament and Torah, exactly how this was to be sacrificed, can you not use your imagination? I mean, this is literally the God that created the heavens and the earth, and you're bringing a dead sacrificial lamb in this. This looks like Possum Road carcass cleanup to me. Everybody that saw this thing that is Christian, and I'm going to guess probably more than a couple of Jewish people saw this too and were deeply offended by how this was done, because this was gross. The grain offering was thrown on in such a way that it's kind of one of those things that, you're glad you didn't eat lunch before you watched this whole thing. So nonetheless, it was interesting to see how this was done. Not a good sign, as an actual lamb had been sacrificed, as you don't do that as dress rehearsal. If you're going to bother to kill an animal and bring it and start putting pieces of the animal on the fire, I would think you ought to just do it right the first time. So it is becoming clear by the day that things are moving towards a conclusion. Okay, this was in the Sun. This is written up in several places. Apocalypse cow. First red heifer born in Israel in 2,000 years triggers Armageddon fears after Christian and Jewish holy books say it will bring about the end of the world. The Temple Institute in Jerusalem said the calf underwent extensive examination by experts. This has to do with biblical prophecy with regard to temple law, that animals had to be of a certain quality before they could be sacrificed. This happens to be this baby calf here. They literally will look over this thing hair by hair, and I don't know if it has like two hairs maybe, a variance that are off color, and then that's it. It's something unreal, the scrutinization, but nonetheless, this calf qualified. First red heifer born in Israel for 2,000 years triggers Armageddon fears. All these things are coming to pass right now. So the one thing that lays this all into motion, unless this was somehow genetically created and enhanced by the individuals, let's just put it that way, that prepared this entire thing, And I showed the backgrounds. I think we can all figure out what this is really all about. But nonetheless, unless this was somehow genetically modified, this animal, I believe, has to be sacrificed in the first 2 years of its life. And we're already, I think, at this point, better part of 1 year on this. So there's a timeline as to how long this cow can be of sacrificial quality. In my next lesson, we'll go on to find my people Israel. So I'm going to end it on that note, guys, because I wanted to give the background. So I think we kind of know at this point who my people Israel are. Do you have on the full armor of God? Put on the whole armor of God, that ye may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. The helmet of salvation, breastplate of righteousness, loins girt about with truth, the sword of the Spirit, the shield of faith, feet shod with the preparation of the gospel of peace. Read me. God bless everyone.